This one will be my fifth and final Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 character video. This time we're going to be talking about my female Majin named Shugar. Like Casina, Shugar is actually based on another character I played as in World of Warcraft along with a few other games, and I designed her in. And this picture was made by someone who also drew Spice, who was the character who my roommate plays as. And the two of them are basically sisters who go around and go on adventures and stuff together. Yeah, we first made them in World of Warcraft as female gnomes. And here you can see the older model for them, and then there's the newer model. And I also designed her in other games, like in Black Desert Online. I played with the character creation to try to make Shugar. And for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, I decided to repurpose Shugar as a new character that would be a female Majin, with a completely separate backstory. So you might remember in the previous video, Shoga left behind some sort of cocoon or something in a watery cave before he left Earth. Well, that was actually a hibernation pod, kind of like the one that Bibbidi sealed Boo into like thousands of years ago. And this one contains sugar, and it requires a lot of energy to be released, which fortunately there was a source of energy nearby the village that lives under the snowy mountains with the caves, which turns out to be none other than the legendary Super Saiyan himself. Sugar is discovered by the village's shaman, known as Majola, who thinks he could use sugar to terrorize the people of the town and make him look like the big hero that goes and stops the evil demon that is threatening to hurt people and destroy the town or their village. But what ends up happening is the monster that Majola was originally going to use this ploy to perform comes and terrorizes the village anyway, and Majola is unable to stop it himself, but Sugar does stop it by using the candy beam to transform it into a giant pile of sweets for the whole village, which saves the village, but also exposes Majola's plot to exploit everybody, and he ends up being run out of town, and Sugar ends up becoming the town's hero. Sugar stays in the village and lives pretty happily with the villagers there until one day three strangers show up looking for something called the Dragon Ball. And they don't know what that is in the village, but the next morning the village gets attacked by another unknown person who turns out to be the legendary Super Saiyan Broly, as the events of Broly's second coming are about to begin. This time, however, Sugar is in the village, and she fights Broly alongside Goten, Trunks, Videl, and later Gohan when he arrives, and because she's so powerful, because she's a Majin, she's equally matched with Broly, and the fight ends up going in her favor mostly. As strong as she is, Sugar is a bit reckless, though, with her powers, and nearly blows away Gohan at the same time as Broly using her superpowers, but in the end, she ends up picking up the Kamehameha from watching Gohan and Goten using it, and she uses it herself to wipe Broly out by blasting him into the sun, just like how the Broly Second Coming movie ended. Sometime later, Sugar sees a message being broadcast to the entire world by the wizard Bobbity, explaining that he's looking for two out of the three people Sugar met in the village during the fight against Broly, but also has with him someone called Majin Buu, whom Sugar recognizes, claiming him to be her big brother, that she needs to go out and rescue from Bobbity. So instead of Goku showing up to show off Super Saiyan 3 for the first time against Majin Buu, Sugar actually goes and confronts them herself, and through a fight with Buu manages to convince him that she would make a much more fun playtime partner than Bobbity would, who just wants him to do whatever he says. And Bobbity gets angry and tells Majin Buu that he'll seal him back up unless he gets rid of Sugar. But this just prompts Buu to get the idea that Bobbity needs to be out of the picture and gets rid of him instead. And the two of them then go on to play superhero together, where Sugar tries to convince all the people in the world that her big brother is now a good guy and will help people, but they misinterpret everybody screaming and running in terror from them as they must be bad people. So Boo starts blowing up their cities and killing people, and the problem there is that neither of them really know what the difference between good and evil, so they just figure blowing up these towns is an act of heroism because they were full of villainous people, which of course isn't true. Without anyone to stop Majin Buu or Sugar, even though she's not really helping him blow up these towns, more or less just cheering him on, thinking he's doing good, Mr. Satan finally agrees to go after Majin Buu and deal with him and his wacky sister, and he heads down there and the events occur where they become friends instead of him trying to fight them because he knows he doesn't stand a chance. And during one of the tricks he tries to play on them, he gets behind Sugar and tries to break her neck, but Sugar doesn't think he's trying to kill her. She ends up thinking that he's coming on to her and becoming attracted to her, and that this is an act of embracing her rather than an act of trying to snap her neck. And this causes her to develop a crush on him, which was absolutely not what Mr. Satan was intending. He still comes to the conclusion that if Majin Buu doesn't want to blow up any more towns and Sugar doesn't want to lead him to places to blow them up, that he saved the day, that this will stop the carnage and the world won't be destroyed. This, of course, is before the event wherein the gunmen take out the puppy that Boo found, and he ends up splitting into good and evil half, and the evil half absorbs the good half and becomes Super Boo. This time around, Sugar tries to fight Super Boo to protect Mr. Satan and to free the good Boo from him, but Super Boo proves to be too strong for her and manages to knock her out and then attempt to absorb her as well. But Sugar manages to escape being absorbed by using the same energy barrier that she saw Broly use in their fight, and now she's inside Super Boo's body, where she goes around looking for the good Boo in order to properly free him from inside the evil Boo. This means Sugar is inside of Boo when Gotenks uses the Super Ghost Kamikaze attack to blow him up, which means Sugar gets blown up too, but as a result, during her regeneration, she manages to absorb parts of the Super Boo that transforms her into a Super Sugar of sorts that becomes stronger. Sugar does find and free the good Boo during his fight against Gohan and Parasi, which causes him to transform into the purified Kid Boo. Then Parasi uses instant transmission to get him off the Earth, but brings Mr. Satan with her to the sacred world of the Kai instead of Gohan. And from there, Sugar teams up with the good Boo, Parasi, and Vegeta to buy Goku and Mr. Satan enough time to gather the energy for the Spirit Bomb that Goku uses to defeat Kid Boo.
Kakarot! I'll try and buy as much time as possible, but you have to convince the Earthlings to help you! You idiot! What are you all waiting for? Hurry and tell! You all going to refuse me? Your champ, Hercule! I'm the one fighting Majin Buu now! Hurry and lend me your power! Hercule? Well, I kind of had to say it in order to gain their trust. It's done! Everyone, move away! Here I go! Take this! Give me some of your energy!
Sugar joins the others in defending the Earth during the Resurrection F arc, although in this scenario, nobody knows that the person leading this army is Frieza. They all believe it's actually Arctic X due to the fact that Frieza is wearing his X disguise. So everyone just assumes that Arctic X is leading the invasion against Earth. While wearing the disguise, Frieza thinks that Sugar might be Majin Buu, the one that his father told him about to watch out for, and the way she fights his army kind of clues him in on maybe this is the case. Sugar doesn't hold back at all against them. she uses her powers as well as her candy beam to wipe out most of Frieza's army single-handedly, which causes them to become pretty heavily demoralized, although killing them wasn't really the intention of the other fighters, so they come to the realization that Shugar still doesn't really know how to control her powers properly, and even Piccolo suggests that someone needs to step up and teach her how to use her powers without overusing them and causing unnecessary death and destruction. Parzi finally shows up to the fight and takes over, using a Super Saiyan Blue and making Frieza drop his disguise and reveal his golden form, and then the two of them fight while Shugar sits back and eats all the candy and strawberry sundaes she created from Frieza's army with her candy beam. Yeah, I haven't written this part yet, but with the coming of the Tournament of Power, Piccolo really does take it upon himself to train Shugar and try and teach her how to use her powers more responsibly. Although unlike Gohan, Shugar is a bit more of a handful to deal with, since she's just kind of a happy, playful girl that doesn't really take fighting all that seriously. So it'll take Piccolo some effort, but he'll finally get through to her, and she'll become part of the team that competes in the Tournament of Power, replacing her big brother, Majin Buu, who was supposed to enter, but falls asleep in the main story. Here we have Sugar's first build, which is based on her initial form. She has Meditation, trademark attack, Majin Kamehameha, which is a Kamehameha, but just colored pink.
Now I'm mad.
She also uses the Candy Beam. She also has Ill Bomber, which she can use to blow herself up and then be temporarily untouchable while she regenerates. Her first ultimate is the Dual Angry Explosion, which is Majin Buu's dual ultimate.
Done it.
Her other ultimate is the Super Black Kamehameha Rosé, which is basically just a pink Super Kamehameha, so I thought that was fitting. And as I just showed off, she also has Purification, which transforms her into a Kid Buu copy, which gives her his abilities, which are the Vanishing Ball, the Pearl Flash, Quick Sleep, Maximum Charge, Super Vanishing Ball, and Teleport Vanishing Ball.
What are you doing? Ugh, now I'm mad.
What? Impossible.
Sugar's second build I call Lovely Sugar, since I decided to give her a bunch of the Ribrianne themed attacks. You can see in there I just used Formation. The Ribrianne Super Soul I have equipped is called That Won't Work on Me, which gives you a big boost of defense when you're hit by an ultimate, but it also turns all of your Ki Blasts into pink hearts. This build has Potential Unleashed and still has the Majin Kamehameha, but it also has Pretty Cannon as an attack. This build also has Present for You, along with Hercule's dual ultimate, the Duel The Savior Has Come, which heals you and your partner when used. Her other ultimate is Ribrianne's Eternal Love, which is powered by the Pretty Cannon to do more damage and shoots a giant heart at the target. The third build is Super Sugar, the version of her after absorbing parts of Super Buu after she got blown up by one of Gotenks' super ghosts. Her evasive is Boo Boo Ball, and her Super Soul makes her recover Ki after falling asleep at the start of the fight for the rest of the fight. And she has Vanishing Ball, she still has Majin Kamehameha, and Potential Unleashed, and Super Black Kamehameha Rosé. I also gave her Formation, which used to be Maximum Charge. She has the Candy Beam. And her other ultimate now is Super Vanishing Ball. Sugar's next builds are a couple of funny what-if absorptions for her. The first one, she absorbs Namek Saga Goku. This means she can access the Kaioken. Kaioken-powered Kamehameha, the Spirit Bomb, she has Ill Bomber, the Kaioken Kamehameha times 4, her evasive is the Spirit Explosion, and her other ultimate is the times 20 Kaioken Kamehameha. Next up is Shugar after absorbing Pan. She can use Prepare to be Punished as her power-up pose. Has Potential Unleashed. Has the regular Kamehameha. And the Feint Shot. This version of Shugar also has the Dancing Para Para, although I kind of messed it up here. As you probably expect from this build, her ultimate is the Maiden Blast. And she also has the dual Maiden Blast, which is Pan's dual ultimate. Shugar's sixth build is a Shugar after having absorbed Bojack, a character that didn't even appear in my fanfiction. She has Maximum Charge and Potential Unleashed. She also has all of Bojack's super attacks, the Reverse Launcher, the Trap Shooter,
There's nothing more reassuring than fighting alongside former rivals.
and the Psycho Barrier.
The rest to you. Not bad.
And as expected of her other absorptions, her ultimates are the Grand Smasher
Come on. This is pathetic.
and the dual Grand Smasher.
Someone is perfect as I am.
Yes, I can. Wow. What power.
And that about covers it for Shugar. And this will probably be my last Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 character video, since even though I have a couple other characters I made, they're not nearly as fleshed out as the others, so there's not much to say about them. But I do hope you enjoyed these videos, and I think for my next series I'm going to play Streets of Rogue and play through as all the different characters that are available in that game. So I'll see you for those videos, and I'll catch you later.